Coach, we are going to be talking about one-on-one defense here. If you've seen any of my stuff, if you've taken my Force Baseline course, or you've heard me talk about it in any of the clinics that I've done, that's the thing I talk about the most is pressure defense. So I want to talk to you a little bit about how do you prepare your team? How do you get kids to be good defensive players? I'm going to start with a story here. I had a young lady who was in college, and her coach said, you've got to be a better defender if you're going to get on the court more. So after her freshman year, she was a little bit discouraged about that, and so I ended up working with her on being a better defender. Now, she was known as a shooter. Shoot free throw, shoot the three-pointer, step back, good scorer. Well, what happened was she worked so much on her offensive ability and being a shooter, she really neglected the defensive side of the floor. So we needed to change that. So what we did was we incorporated lane slides into everything that she did. So if we're shooting free throws, shoot 10 free throws, and let's say she only misses 2, well, she's got 2 lane slides. And what I mean by that is the players line up on the inside. So they got a foot right on the lane line, and they're going to step with this foot first, and they're going to step here. But they do that all the way across, and then they're coming back the other way, always making themselves bigger. But that'd be 1 lane slide. They went down and back, so she'd have 2 of those lane slides. So we started to train her in getting used to that. The other thing that we did was we would kind of do these long side jumps. I'm sure there's a name for them, but what would happen, the same thing. We'd start here, and this time she's going to push off of this foot that's on the lane as far out as she can. So she's going to push as far as she can. She's going to push as far as she can. So it's less, there's less steps, but it's a bigger push. So she'd do that going back as well. So we put those in there to really engage her hips, get her moving side to side, working on her core, all of that. All right, so we're doing that. Next year she comes back, and she is a much improved player on the floor a lot more, and she really is somebody who is confident in her one-on-one defense. Now, we did a couple of other things. I'm going to show you that here real quick, but the idea was get her mindset from going and being a shooter to then being a defensive player right away. If we had somebody in the gym to play defense against, sure, we did it, but when we didn't, we had to do things like this. We weren't going to take a day off. So it also got her used to getting tired, going back and being a shooter, so it helped in both regards. All right, so how did we do it? Well, here's the biggest thing that we did. When we had other shooters, or if it was just me in the gym with her, we could do a little bit of one-on-one work. But basically, you had me with the ball here. She's guarding me, butt to the basket, and we started out with, I'm going to go to the right. So I'm going to dribble this way. She had to step that way to stop me. All right, so we do that 3 times. And each time she'd reset herself and do it. Then I'd go, okay, we're going to go to the left 3 times. So we go left 3 times, and she'd do it. Next time I'd say, I'm not going to tell you which direction I'm going to go. You've got to move based upon where I go. So I would pick different ways to go, and she would get used to stepping out and getting in front of me that way. So that was huge in her guarding the ball. Now, what happened a lot of times was I'd get a little bit of jump, or the player that was on the offensive side, get a little bit of a jump on her, and she would take and open herself up. So instead of being butt to the basket, she'd move this leg down a little bit, and she'd really open up the lane. So now all of a sudden you opened up that lane, and we had to get her away from doing that. So we would have her do 2 steps. So 1, 2 to stay in front. So we had to start training her into doing that 1 and 2. So that got her confidence and her quickness up. After that, it became about how do we use our hands, how do we use our voice, what's the proximity. Again, if you've seen any of my stuff on defense, you know that I like being an arm's length away. If you're there, your hips can move as long as you're moving to the side and you're not opening yourself up to the lane, you're going to be just fine. Had to use our voice, saying things like ball, 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 or pressure, or trap, or whatever it is you have them use in your program. And then we always wanted to make sure that if they were right-handed or left-handed, we had that hand down. So if they're right-handed, we knew they're going to the right, we wanted our left hand down and our right hand up. So left hand was there to deflect any balls that maybe if there was a crossover, or maybe there was going to be a quick drive, we'd have a hand that's ready to go there. So those little things really helped her become a better defender. So if you've got players, it doesn't matter if they're slower players, they're quicker players, the mindset has to be that I'm a good defender. Drills like this make kids believe that they're good defenders. Then you've got to say you can guard anybody for one possession. I don't care if it's the quickest guy on the floor or if it's a taller player, a longer player, you can guard anybody for one possession. When you give them the right tools, and then they have the belief in which they can guard anybody on the floor, that's when they become a really good defender. So, coach, hopefully this helps you out a little bit. I would incorporate this every practice. You know, it takes about 2 minutes to do. Once they've done it the first time, they know exactly what's going on, and you're just gonna be building those muscles over and over and over again. Now, I'll give you one more before we leave, something that just popped in my head. So here you go. One that we do in conditioning a lot is we get all our players lined up here. So we'll have the whole team lined up with 1 foot on the line here. And what we do is we do it to a cadence. So it's a whistle that blows. They have to step out once. Whistle blows again, they step out. Whistle blows twice, they turn and they sprint. All right, so it could be a 1 whistle for a step, 2 whistles for a turn and sprint. So that's how we start it. And then we may go, we're gonna go out 2, we're gonna go back 1, and then it's going to be 2 quick whistles, and it's going to be a sprint. We're getting used to swiveling our hips, engaging, and sprinting. So anything like that, why do we have them go back? Player changes directions, they spin, they cross over. We've got to be able to keep our balance and to go the other direction as well. So all of these things help, especially when we can't have a ball in conditioning. This is a great drill to work on our defense without just leaving it out there, hoping that they're going to get better at it, or they'll be ready when the first game comes around. No, we're going to prepare for it. And this is one of the drills that we do. So, Coach, I hope this helps you out. Whether you are watching this on YouTube, you're seeing this over at my website, coachmattdennis.com, or on social media, please leave me a comment. Love to hear from you. But till next time, get in the gym, go get better.